Hi. Okay, so this is a start because it's already the time. And there's a small announcement for those who are not here and for those who are still in the middle of the book. They can skip this meet because we are planning to have another meet on Saturday or maybe Sunday of next week. So those who are still on the middle and don't want any spoilers, they can skip this meet and they can join on the next week. Anyone? Yuvika, do you want to continue or you want
Yeah,
to skip?
I'll skip. I'll join next Saturday.
Okay, great. Uh,
Going with me.
Same with?
Me as well.
Me.
Okay,
Ashwati.
Ashwati. Okay, great. Anyone else?
Me as well.
Rashmi, do you want to continue or you want to skip?
I'll see for some time, then I'll skip it if I don't want
Okay, you can
spoilers.
attend the questions that are in your domains, and if you think that you're getting any spoilers, then you can skip. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, great. Uh, so even I have not completed the book, 50% on it.
Wow.
So I am passing the stage to
Okay.
Falguni, and Falguni will continue the meeting. I will hear and take participate in the questions that fall in my domain and all the other questions. So Falguni, please take over the meet and do the thing. And these are the audience. Go one by one and ask the questions and proceed with the meeting. Handing over to you.
Okay. Thanks, Ashwini. So, have you all read it? Like, how did you feel like just after you finished reading it? What was your first reaction to the book? Like, anyone?
Your voice is breaking.
Okay. Hello. Can you hear me now?
No. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm just saying, like, after you read Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, what was your first reaction as soon as you finished reading the last sentence of the book? So, how did that
I
make
love
you
Evelyn Hugo. Period.
feel? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. That's
She
true.
is
So
That's my
so
favorite book actually
unapologetic.
of Taylor
Yes,
Jenkins Reid. That's exactly.
that's right.
It's just
Actually, that is
perfect.
the first book that I have read of this
Me
author,
too.
and I'm
Me
sure
too.
I'm going to read
Same.
more.
okay, so what's
Okay.
my thought
I
was like as far as I have read, so I think this book is not about the seven husbands. It's about Evelyn Hugo. Like
Evelyn Hugo. Yes.
Yes,
she
Right.
is what she
yes,
is, and yeah, so it's a great experience knowing Evelyn Hugo. And I
yes.
actually googled it to know that is it a fictional character or actually a character. Then I know that
Me too.
I
I
did the
read that
same
too.
thing. I was the
Elizabeth Taylor.
same.
yeah, okay.
I haven't read much about the original person, but yeah, I would definitely like to know more about that person.
Yeah.
It actually
So yeah,
reminded me of South Khon Muff. Like
Ah,
I
I
was
know.
finding
Like
ah,
uncanny resemblance
I haven't.
because
I neither
thinking
had
is
read this
she
book. Yeah.
like that one is from Susanna's Seven Husbands, right? Like so I was
Yes.
thinking, okay,
That's
is
the
it
one.
like do they have a resemblance of some sort? But then Susanna's Seven Husbands, her husbands were extremely bad. Even these her husbands were not that bad, I would say. That's the point. Like in fact, her the one she stayed with, her best friend, he was like the
The
best.
best. I know, right?
The best.
Like
I
that was the.
cried. I was literally crying when he died.
I
Yeah, but
know.
I think the
Sorry, Ashwini.
book was like mostly signifying that seven husband of Evelyn Hugo, like whole word is knowing her with the significance of husbands, like she get marrying one two three,
She kept
but there's
marrying.
a
Yes,
completely whole word to her,
yeah,
only her,
yeah.
exactly.
like how
Yep.
she's falling apart, how she's done again, and there's no connection of husband in that part.
No,
Exactly.
there is not at all.
So that's why the character was so strong in the story.
Yeah.
True.
As much as it makes you feel like it is only about husbands or probably her
Yes,
falling in love and marrying, and you
Hmm.
know, you make an image of that by the title, like Seven Husband. Like, what is she thinking? But as
Exactly.
you read through the book and you actually, really get to know Evelyn, and are you actually understand what she is doing and why she is doing each of those things. So it really like makes you sympathize with her and actually make you root for her.
Yeah.
I agree. True.
Okay, so I have a few questions listed over here. So let's discuss these questions one by one. All right. So, okay, so first is, what do you think of Evelyn as a character? So, since the time you started reading the book, the image of Evelyn that popped up, even when you read the title, so the image that popped up of Evelyn Hugo, and by the end, what kind of image you had of her? So, anyone wants to talk about that? The entire transformation.
Actually, I'll go first. I'm sorry for stepping
Yeah,
in.
sure, please.
When I started the book, I start the book years ago. Like I happened to read it on 2018. So when I bought the book and I started to read that time, I found it like why the title is not even related to the like first few chapters. I was thinking. So at one point of time, I happened to think that this is like journalism's and point of a seller point, where a few pages talks about journalism, calling up the journalist and take talking with him. So those few points like makes us to hook with the character, and the each chapter or the each um, or
Part.
each page there is a hook which makes me to connect with Evelyn somehow or somehow. And at one point of time, I feel it's not about Evelyn or marriage or seven husbands. It's like it's about the love,
Yes, right,
irrespective of gender, living things, non-living things. She loves something and she runs for it. At one point of time, we are like that.
yes,
We
correct.
love something and we run for it. I only think or connect with that only. I love
Yes.
Evelyn's the idea of love, how the idea of love from Evelyn's point of view or from Monique's point of view, the thing is entirely written. That's the one thing stayed with me.
That's very true. So I think my idea of love, what love is actually really changed after reading this book. So the time that she spent with Harry, and even when we came to know about Monique's parents, when her mother tells her about their relationship. So that's really the point where you think like, okay, that is real love. Intimacy is a different thing, and love is completely different.
At one point of time, we are only thinking of that, like we might have taken the book thinking about the seven husbands or the gossips, but we are entirely given a different thing which gives us like, wow, this is nice. I get
Yeah,
that feeling.
right. Anyone wants to add to that?
Uh, yeah.
Yes, readers. Sorry, I don't know what.
Mansi, yeah, it's Mansi.
Mansi, yeah.
Once.
Okay. For me, like love part, obviously that was great. It really showed ki all the money and fame can be put aside if we are getting the right kind of love. We don't care about that. But that was the realization I got in the end when the second meeting with a lover. I'm not spoiling for those who haven't read. So, but in the beginning, it was more about like when we are stuck in a situation. She was poor and that father poverty, and it's about choice. She chose to get out. Some of us, we keep up dreaming that one day we will get out,
True.
one day we will get. We never take the step because we are not bold enough. We are not just gonna take risk. We are not gonna spoil our name, our reputation, our goodwill. We are gonna be good daughter, good girl of the society. But she just
Yes.
did everything against that. She took that step. She left her father. It's a great thing. Like, we can't do that. Our brain would not allow it. We keep stuck in that mud. We keep crying. We keep getting depressed, but we will be there for our father. So in the beginning, I was like, how can she leave her father? But then later on, I realized, okay, she chose to make a life for herself, and she took a step for that. So love part came way after that, but
Yes.
her individual identity was before.
And not just one step. She took a decision. She took a step every time, like at every turn of her life. She was
Like,
taking
she
making her
is so
decision.
unapologetic about what she does. She's like boldly accepting ki I have this body, I'm gonna use it. And if a boy has that kind of power, he will definitely use this. So why I feel ashamed? Like, she's so bold. I love that. Seriously love that. We can't even accept those thoughts in our mind alone, let
Yes.
alone in the whole world. So that's a
True.
good thing.
It's like, Vansi, I completely agree with you. There is one more point I would like to add. I felt the way her character is written, it's like it's perfect yet flawed. Like
Yes, flawed.
she is perfect in
Perfectly
every
flawed.
sense,
Yeah, right.
but she's flawed in every sense as well.
Yes.
Like she makes decisions. Some are perfect, some are very rash,
Very.
some go
Yes.
way beyond the head. So, but it's like that. You fall in love with that itself. Like how beautiful is
Because
that character?
as an adult, we know that we can't keep on going on a fixed path. Like we know we have
Right.
faced life, we have experienced, we have to take like some flaws and steps in the
We
wrong
have to.
direction.
We have to
Yes,
agree.
without that you can't live. You
You can't
can't
move
just
exactly. You
no.
can't just keep on
It's
doing. You cannot just keep on taking the decisions you think are correct. You
that's our
need to
teenage
step up.
myth. We are gonna be
Exactly.
practical and good. That's a myth. We
It
can't.
doesn't. That doesn't work out at all. Exactly true.
Yeah,
Ashwini wanted to
Rehana.
say something.
Ashwini.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rehana
Acha,
wanted to.
Rehana. Okay, Rehana.
Hi. I actually have like something contradictory to tell because I did not completely love Evelyn. I know that some parts I hated of her, some parts I loved. I think maybe it's the author who brought out the best. I mean, she made us love her, she made us hate her when it
Hate
is
her,
needed.
yes.
uh,
Right.
and by exactly how Evelyn describes herself, I think you're supposed to love her and hate her at the same time. I think that when I was starting the book, I thought Evelyn wanted to tell the world that there were reasons why she did such things, why she had to do all those things for herself. But at the end, I realized it was not the purpose of the book. She had completely different to say the world. Like she said, no, you know my story, but you're not supposed to go for what I had have done. I think she wanted to tell that.
Yeah,
And
there's this
I
quote.
hated her too on so many parts. It's so obvious.
There's this
uh,
quote in the book where she says, "Don't try to put me into a box and then
Half,
judge me." So
half.
I
Yeah, right.
really love that quote of the book. Ashwini,
Okay,
you
now
had to say
you can tell.
something.
Ashwini is avoiding listening to spoilers.
Yeah. Okay. So what I was adding to that is already Rihanna and Mansi has summarized in this. So yeah, like we all are flawed humans, and to picturize that into a book is what a author needs to be doing. Hello, am I audible
Your
now?
voice is breaking,
You're
Ashwini.
breaking.
No,
You're
Still
breaking.
Yeah,
breaking?
I think we all should mute.
no, it's better now.
Okay, it's good now.
Huh.
Okay, so what I was saying ki everyone is a flawed human, and to picturize that from a author's point of view, it's a win for the author. Like she able to present the good and bad aspect of a character in a perfectly flawed manner, as you have said. So that was an achievement for the author to express the character beautifully as it is and not sugar coated.
Like hero ki image, we have that perfect wali
Yeah,
image,
yeah,
na hero ki, but here it is flawed, so we connect more easily with
yeah.
flawed
वही
characters
मतलब
because
हम
we
लोग
are flawed.
या हम
Yes,
लोग
Yes,
सभी
right.
फ्लॉड हैं
yes.
सभी फ्लॉड है हम लोग तो
हाँ,
वो एक कनेक्शन
obviously.
बिल्ड होता है अगर वह उस टाइप का कैरेक्टर
Hmm.
है तो इफ वी सी
That's the
ऑल द गुड थिंग
beauty. Yeah,
या एंड दैट्स द
that's the beauty
विनिंग
of a
पॉइंट फॉर
good
द
character building.
या that's what I'm trying to say like it's a win for the author like author expressed it beautifully कि एक आदमी फ्लॉड है and I'm picturizing that yeah okay Sakshi is
Okay,
left out
not talking about spoilers is getting so burdening on me because
ना ना
I
ना
want to
go
talk about
अरे go
something.
on spoilers बस एक बार बोल देना spoilers तो I can do this
Not like big spoilers. I'm not gonna
And I
mention the
can
name. I'm
do
gonna
this.
mention the incident.
okay
So, like in the end, when we get to know why she chose that journalist particularly, I was like, damn, I can't live with that guilt on my heart. How is she living with that amount of guilt? Like, it's so, and how she chose to do in that moment, ki she has to do this and leave this. That's a
Mansi,
great thing.
Mansi,
She actually had
wait
the
there, wait there.
courage.
We have a question for that.
Okay.
Wait for it. We have a question for that. Okay. Uh,
Okay, okay.
Sakshi and
Okay,
He
Janvi, do you
haven't
want to
read
Janvi.
it,
add
but
something?
he's like totally into it.
Sakshi and Janvi, do you have
You
anything to
haven't
add?
read
Don't
the book.
say that. Don't say that. Nothing. She
Sorry, I
used
didn't
to
get
know what
you.
she chose her. Don't say that.
Okay, Janki and Sakshi, you guys want to add something to it?
Yeah, I would like to add. Since we were on the Evelyn's character, I will start from there.
Yeah.
For me, she was a sheer surprise. From the time I started reading, well, it is always a love and hate relationship throughout the book. But in the beginning, she made sure that you hate her to the core. But what I liked and what I guess the author has made sure that we understand that she has come a long way from Hell's Kitchen to Bollywood's Bombshell. She has paid very good price for that. She has made sure, the author has made sure that we get that. And I think she's a badass. Taking up She's a badass. I mean, living in the living in the classic Hollywood, that retro Hollywood style at that time, which was, I guess, a lot of things were there. Were not that they were homophobic. There were a lot of things. They were not. They were, I guess, a bigotry. There were a lot of elements at that time in Hollywood that anybody will not like it. And living up to that and making big names and still, people was at the end of the era also, people were still inquisitive about knowing about her, just wanted to look at her, or just wanted to touch her. I think that's a big deal.
But there are like this book also signified that there are so many stereotypes even in a big industry like Hollywood. And if we talk about India, we see all the Bollywood celebrities doing these huge like Western things, and
Right.
we think that they are so liberal, they are so open-minded. But there's a stereotype hidden in I think every brain. And on the contrary, we middle class people
True.
would like. Think more open in comparison to them. They are showing that they are more open, but actually they are not. And we are
They're
not
not.
showing, we are
Yeah.
just developing day by day. So that was so shocking how Hollywood can't accept that.
But also, this needs to
Exactly.
be
And
noted that the book was set in 1950s and 60s in that time. So, taking in point of view the current
Yes.
time period,
Hmm.
it has been like a half a century nearly, around 50,
Yes.
60, 70 years ago. So, yeah, that makes the major difference in
Yeah, currently
thinking of this.
DV case is being run by a man from a woman, you know whom I'm talking about, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. So there's a lot of
right.
change from that.
And
but still
above
i
all those
feel
things,
but still I feel both these industries are still,
So
a lot of
hypocrite.
times they, yes, they are, they
Yes.
have still not they have still not completely accepted,
Yes.
a homo characters. They are still
Hmm. Hmm.
homophobic.
Hmm. Hmm.
They are still not accepted, a female oriented, a female in a lead,
Yes, exactly.
a female leading an entire show, or female
Hmm.
leading an entire movie. They have still not accepted it. There are, this is the truth.
Like I see promotions launches even in Hollywood or Bollywood both, and I see actors going everywhere with the actor. I'm like, okay, they both are actors. And when I see the movie, I'm like, iska role kya tha? Where is she is like just a partner. She is just a partner, she is just a lover, she is just a wife, she is just a girlfriend, and that's it. But the hero is like a superhero, he's saving the world. So I think like women's character has not yet developed so much. If there's a woman like biopic or something like Rani Lakshmi Bai, only that is what gives women character. But if there's a hero and if there's a love story, all part goes to the male. Simple.
Right.
okay, and
I
above
actually
all
wanted to
those
say something.
things, we have to add the a calculation of time, because the story is like 20 to 30, no, it's about 50 to 60 years back,
50s
right?
or 60s. Yeah,
So
yeah.
the what we are experiencing right now in Hollywood or Bollywood, there are 50 to 60 times more in her period. So, and above all those
Yes.
things, she managed to survive and managed to do all the things that she loved. Janki, do you have anything to add?
I personally feel like more than the gender, we also have some racial issues running over there. A lot of racial issues. Even she has to go with it. Identity changes, name changes. I am not ready to change my name. How come people are ready to change their name in order to get a career? We find a lot of characters doing it inside the book. That's too hard. We already have a name, we already have an identity towards it, but still, they are fine and okay with it to go ahead and change and have like do colors, do change their costumes, change their hairstyle. When we go through African literatures or African writers, they tend to have to change their hairs in their teens. After that, they used to come back to the roots, saying that roots are the best part of the life. They shouldn't forget their roots. Those changing hairs, those changing colors made me to feel that the woman is going somewhere. Even that time, it's too hard for come up for a woman to do those stuff.
That's very well said, and this is actually a subtle issue in this book, and it's not really focused upon, but this is a really relevant thing to focus on. And thank you for bringing that up, Janki. So yeah, okay. So I think we have discussed this question, and now I have another question for you, which is who is your favorite character? I'm pretty sure what is going to be the answer, but I would like to hear from you who is your favorite character and why.
Harry.
Yeah,
Harry.
that was
Harry.
what I was expecting.
I was Harry.
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 As
Exactly, Harry.
as far as I have read, it's Evelyn. I don't know about
Harry.
any much.
Okay.
Okay, you have to read it completely. Like Evelyn is a normal answer, obvious answer.
Yeah,
I love her. That's
Like,
full
apart from
stop.
Ellen, once you
Yes,
finish, you will get
Harry.
an idea of exactly.
Yes,
Yeah. Hmm.
he
that's
has a
right.
big heart. Big
Harry
heart.
is like a soulmate. Like everyone needs such a person in their life.
In their life.
Yes,
Yes,
Correct.
exactly.
Exactly.
absolutely. Now, and right opposite of that, who's your like least favorite character, the person you hate the most?
I
I
think
think
Dan,
Dawn.
the first husband that
Yeah.
was
The
TV
second
and
husband
that.
for me.
Second was
The
Dan.
Second,
second
okay,
for me.
Dan.
Okay.
I hated him.
Okay, I'm a little
Same.
confused.
Ditto.
Who was the abusive husband? Was it the second one or the third one? Rex or Dan?
Second, I guess.
Dan was
Even
the
Who's
the
abusive.
second?
the second husband,
Yeah, second
Okay.
he
husband.
was the one who started beating her up. Like,
Yes,
Yeah.
sorry,
and not
Ashwini.
just
Yeah, yeah.
beating. When he later on came to for the forgiveness, I was not feeling sympathetic towards him.
Yeah,
I was
Never.
like,
Exactly.
"You
He
are gonna
wanted
do it again, and you are just gonna make your way like that." I was like,
That's
"Chalo
what.
aage,
It's
hato."
just an apology. Exactly.
हाँ, हाँ, हाँ.
He'll do it
Formality
again
वाली
for sure.
apology.
I
हाँ.
actually love the metaphor over that particular space. Like the saris or the dress we have holes in it. I'm mending it with the pins. Something related to
Pins.
mending or needling it. That metaphor was nice. Whenever like we tend to see Dawn coming and seeking forgiveness towards Evelyn. That metaphor was nice too. I
I
hated
think
Dawn.
he'll do it a couple of times. Like every time he'll beat her up and he'll ask for forgiveness. Finally,
But
she'll say like it's enough.
empowerment is a beautiful thing because she was so like trapped when she was with him, and
Right.
she thinks she love him, and she was not leaving that part. She would keep on suffering, but later on when he came for forgiveness, she was like blank. She didn't feel anything. So that comes with the empowerment, because we know
Correct.
we don't need you anymore.
True.
And
Right.
this is something a lot of people are stuck in. Like they are not able to like get
Yes,
out
get
of
out
something
of
they
the
know is
abusive
Right.
abusive and
relationship.
toxic.
Yeah,
Yes.
because you
So
have to fit that stereotypical ideal wife scenario, right? You cannot
not
just
only
walk
the
out of
wife,
a
even in
relationship.
relationship
And
or a
the
Evelyn
friendship.
couldn't do
point
it.
is, every time it's the wife that is to
Such a
blame.
person
So,
like Evelyn couldn't do
exactly.
it.
Ah, yes. Yes, she's saying like a person like Evelyn can't do it. Yes,
Yeah.
हम भी यार
So,
हम क्या
Yes,
हैं?
हम क्या है? सच
that's
है.
that's right.
Yeah, like
Okay, now we have discussed a lot about Evelyn, but what do you think about Monique's character?
Whose character?
Like Monique's character, how was
Oh,
her
oh,
acha.
so,
transformation from the beginning to the end? Like, what do you feel about her?
um, I don't know. I liked her actually. I think she started hating Evelyn, but also picturized some part of her as Evelyn as well. Like her life related to Evelyn as well. I think even though she hated, she knew she needed Evelyn's story to make her empowered also. I think.
But
Parts of
she
Evelyn
was
made her empowered
scared, na?
also.
He like she is just a common journalist and she has been
Yeah.
called by this huge celebrity. And at that part, I was also scared. Like if we get that same opportunity, we will think like, हमें क्यों मिल रही है? We won't instantly be
Why?
like कि मिल रही है ले लो. No, no. We will
Oh,
think, and
obviously.
her fear was so justified. कि बहुत
Completely.
yes like
She was afraid that Evelyn will eat her up or something. Exactly, because completely she was so afraid. She's like, ah, अब तो मैं बैठ रही हूँ यहाँ interview लेने. She'll completely gobble me up.
And just think about Taylor Jenkins Reid, how she mentioned a little part of Monique's story. Like she left his boyfriend, I think, or
True.
husband. Husband.
Yes.
There's just a little part, but that made her connection more with Evelyn because she just
Right.
started talking about boyfriend. So that's a brilliancy of author, I think,
yeah,
Correct.
because
But I want to add something here. Hello, I just joined, and
yes,
while hearing you all, I felt that when the Monique's character, her character, she has done some amazing job with some write-up, if I can recall it correctly, and her one of her write-up was published and was like publicly like praised publicly. Yes. So she was somewhat insecure about herself and underconfident when it comes to, like, she should have not felt it that way, that if she was chosen for this opportunity, she should have like felt confident, but she was insecure, though there was a lot happening in her own life. So I still feel that she was like very underconfident.
yeah, it's like the na कि we dream of the world, but if we are given the world, we will be like, अरे हमें क्यों दे रहे हो? तो like that, she was put in that place instantly. If she have like taken one step one at a time and got promoted to that thing, she would have feel more successful or like achievement in
Right.
her life.
Correct.
Yeah, because wherever she was
Uh,
working, Vivant, so that place didn't give her any opportunities where she could expect something of that level coming to her. So that kind
Correct.
of insecurity is kind of like relatable. You can accept a person like feeling that insecurity in that situation. So
And the
I felt
reason came on later, na why Evelyn wanted
yes,
her. So
yes,
Exactly. On that point, I literally thought from the very beginning of the book that somehow is she. No, no, no. It's
एक
not a spoiler. It's not a spoiler.
क्वेश्चन है, एक क्वेश्चन है उसके ऊपर.
हाँ हाँ
You
yes.
हाँ
can,
बोलो बोलो.
वहाँ पे क्वेश्चन है, you can skip this for that question.
Okay,
Oh,
we
okay,
can
okay, okay.
remove that
Yeah.
question.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, fine, fine.
So the next question is, what feelings did this book evoke for you? Like what all emotions you felt while reading this book? It was definitely a tearjerker. What else?
Well, I felt that I grew a little once I read the book. It made me mature. Like you
Yes.
saw how every husband of Evelyn affected her in some way. Like changed. Not I would not say changed her. Gave her experience or some experience of life in some way. A slice of life. So that happened for me as well. Like you come to know that there are so many different variety of people in the world. Until you just step out of the house, you would think that okay, this is the person, this is how I am thinking the person is, but that person might be entirely different. You won't know until you mingle, until you completely sit and talk and know the person inside out. So that's what I felt like. I should not be judgmental, first of all. The book made me mature.
Yes.
Plain sight, right?
That's very like short and crisp. take away from this
Okay,
Exactly.
this
no
session? Like,
offense to males here in the meeting, but like no one can give you more experience of life or world than if you are in connection with so many males, or if you have relationships with
I agree.
numerous boyfriends. Like they will make you mature in the span of 3 months, in the span of 2 months, much more than you become mature on your own. It's a like known fact. It's seriously a known fact.
It's true.
And men are of all varieties. Of all varieties. So, no offense, you all are good and just fine, but just saying it. So, yes,
Okay,
that.
so if I have to summarize what I have felt or get connected with this book is in one word, growth. Like the character of Evelyn grow from 14 year to like
30,
70, and
70, 80,
yeah,
yeah,
70,
70.
70-ish.
and on process of the journey see grow too much and get matured, get experience, and experience all those things, fame, love, betrayal, and every possible thing that one can experience, and we also get the glimpses of all those things. And as a human being we also uh, become more matured, as Mosami said while reading the book. So growth, and one has to stick with their personal growth. Like कुछ भी हो रहा हो आसपास में तुमको अपनी केयर करनी है. Like you are the priority.
Now that you bring her age factor into the discussion from 13 to 17 something, I actually realized that I never paid attention to her age. So when I was reading, it was just her personal growth. It could have been in a year, it could have been over the span of decades. But I never felt that she is growing up in age. I just felt that, okay, she is getting mature by each incident and each experience that she is facing. So I never really thought that if I was 13, what I would have done. If I were 20, what would I have done? So it was never the age factor for me, just her experiences and just the like confidence with which she took her decision to take her out of all this bad
Yeah, but
phase.
but the decisions we took at 14 or 18 and the decisions we took at 22 or 25, there's a huge gap in that.
Yes, of
In
course.
Yeah.
But
teenage we take rash decisions, we take on our temper. We are feeling good, we will take good decisions. We are feeling bad, we will take terrible decisions. But when we grow up, we just sit down and analyze what we have to do. So that was here also. I realized a thing that you can't be good throughout your life. Like you can't be an good daughter, good person, good girlfriend, good wife, everyone, for everyone. You
We
have to
can't
be
keep
bad in
everyone happy
someone's
actually.
diary.
That's not
Yes,
possible.
yes, like she achieved a lot. She is here for all the public, all the world, and still she is hated. And as she grew, and they showed the terrible insights of Hollywood, like as she grew, her body became old, and her like acting life become somewhat slow. Then there's detachment from the society. So that's a cruel reality, but a good realizations.
yes, that's very
So
well said.
I
Yes.
thought what this book gave me was like to be forgiving. Because if such a person existed in my own life, like Evelyn, someone like Evelyn, I wouldn't have known the other side of her. I would have definitely hated her. Like
Yes.
everyone would have. No,
Yes.
we won't know her story, real story. We
Yeah,
would have
that
hated
was
her for doing things to
seriously
us.
so good, Rayana.
But when we look retrospectively, like why she did that, I think she had her own reasons. She never made herself look good. She said why she did things, and she also said she was also hurt in the process. So I later realized that it is much more like you should be forgiving. Like people have their own stories, you know why they do things to you. So just be forgiving to everyone.
Yes, so like if she had been a celebrity in our age and the media
Yeah.
was as after her as it was in the book, so we would definitely have an image about her and all the words backwitching and everything. So like yeah, that becomes very important. Like at least in our age, we do have social media where they can show their real side. They have that platform to do that. So yeah, like the change is there. So we hope that at this age we don't judge people like we could have done at that time with the lack of the resources and lack of interaction and visibility into their life, their side of the
Again,
But
sorry,
Falguni,
first of all, for
just
joining
to,
late.
oh, yeah.
I just add on my points regarding the lessons that I learned from this book so far. I have gone through about 75% of the book, and so far I'm in awe of the character that Evelyn is, prioritizing herself, her happiness, the way, putting her worth first. So that was definitely something that I'm taking forward from this book. And along with that, there's one key lesson that I've learned so far is that we all have an amazing life ahead, right? And we need to make the most of it. So those are two key learnings. And along with that, there were some very amazing quotes that I found out. And something that stuck with me is one of the quote that I think we read in the initial pages of the book that goes something like, first you have to push people's boundaries and not feel bad about it. No one is going to give you anything if you don't ask for it. You try, you were told no, get over it, right?
yes.
So this is something that resonates
Right.
very well because the fact, there's this another quote that also goes like, only the crying baby gets a milk, right? You have to ask for what you want, and then only you will be provided for that. So those are some lessons that I'll definitely be taking forward.
Well, just to add to Anvesha's point, because she mentioned quotes, there's a particular one that I loved. There's a part where she'll say that I have absolutely no obligation to make sense to you. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is badass. This is so damn good.
Like that was the baddest
It's like I just
comment.
want a place to apply it. Like I want to throw it on somebody's face.
I
Like
feel
I
that
have absolutely no obligation to make sense to you.
completely.
I
I
really want to apply it somewhere.
I will
Seriously.
put it in my WhatsApp status होता है ना WhatsApp का.
Yeah, Anvesha said na, it made her realize that we had still a amazing life left. So we have a long life left also. Like
Yeah, you're right.
today in our era, social media has hurried us. We are like ये भी करना है, ये भी करना है, ये भी करना है, ये भी करना है. 25 साल की उम्र तक सब करना है. And sometimes I'm not becoming so pious, but I also feel like मुझे job भी करनी है, मुझे travel भी करना है. I have to get married. I have to this. I have to this. I have to take all the achievements like at the age of 28 before 30. Like that is my.
before
But there's a
30, yeah.
long life left before. Like uh, long life, and that's the realization from this book also.
True. But
May I add
to your
something?
point, Mansi, yeah,
Yes,
Shams, please
Sakshi.
go ahead.
Yeah, since we were on that age point, while I was reading it, I recollected like at the age of 13, 14, यार हमको क्या अक्ल थी? Forget about enticing a person and getting him to marry him. वो 15-16 साल की एज तक भी वो अक्ल तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं थी.
Right.
Mature from a very young age.
So that's what I meant when I said that her age didn't really come out to me. Like it was really that person who is using her sexuality to get what she wants. And it was never about her age. It was just about what decisions she took and what experiences she had throughout her journey.
I think I guess उसके circumstances ने उसको ऐसे बना दिया, given the
Yeah.
place where she was
Yes,
in.
right.
उसने वो चीज की इम्पोर्टेंस शायद बहुत पहले ही देख ली
समझ
कि दुनिया में इम्पोर्टेंस सिर्फ पैसे की है और सिर्फ अपना देखो और वही करो and be unapologetic about anything. And since we were on the quotes, the thing that I like the most, like do yourself a favor, learn to grab life by the balls, dear.
But
Don't be so tied up in
yes, true.
trying to do the right thing when the smart thing is so painfully clear.
I agree.
Okay. Now we can't have this discussion without.
Just one thing, Falguni.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
I was watching Queen's Gambit a few days back, Netflix show, and there was this line. It got me like instantly. The narrator said that it's never good to become famous or become rich at a small age, and that's like the perfect point I came across, because when we were in teenage we were hoping for a life like professional life. We wake up and go to office and have a salary by the end of month, but now we have become adult and we realize the leisure of life. And it's like if a person has become famous at that age, it's so hard to live a life. They have so many
True.
obligations, so many expectations from
Expectations to live
everyone.
by.
Like everyone think they own them. Celebrities have terrible life because fan thinks they own them. They have to run according to fans. They are not considered human at all.
That's what, Mansi, just to add to your point, thank God in Evelyn's time there was no social media. She would have died.
Social
Like,
media, social media
right?
is
Literally,
bad.
they would have killed her
Yes.
Yeah. No, but I'm
because they
pretty sure
have
she would
a,
have handled it because a lot of times
yeah, even,
she herself like dropped the rumors about herself. So it's like she would
correct.
have actually used it to her advantage.
Yeah,
To her
yeah,
advantage.
yeah, yeah.
Being
Yeah.
Evelyn, being
There's a
Evelyn, yeah,
whole
she would have used
politics
it.
to that industry also. Whole
अरे
politics.
Correct.
मतलब
How you have to run.
the point of PR industry ना also touched upon this book and how PR industry work and बहुत अच्छे से उसको portray किया like when she was interviewing about herself कि तुम्हें क्या पसंद है तुम क्या करती हो she told all the truth and then someone said no तुमको आज से ये बोलना है अगर कोई
हाँ,
पूछेगा तो
हाँ,
Right.
right.
Correct.
तो आई वाज लाइक कि हाँ यार होता है एक्चुअल में और हम लोगों को पता भी नहीं चलता लाइक वी वॉच द
नहीं पता
इंटरव्यूज ऑफ
चलता.
द सेलिब्रिटी एंड थिंक कि
We are
यही
so
सब है
unaware.
Ah,
Yeah.
बट
that's
We
what.
don't know how much of it is scripted
या
and how much is real.
तो ऐसा मान के चलो कि उसमें ऑलमोस्ट 60 to 70% रॉन्ग इन्फॉर्मेशन ही होगा
Even the things they say out, like blurt out something about relationships or about a boy or a girl, that also are scripted to
या
like
Yes,
increase the
right.
TRP. That's
या
not
Yeah.
something they just
Correct.
Now,
slip out.
if you were
एवलिन ने तो पूरी
noticed,
शादी स्क्रिप्ट कर दी है
Good point.
या
She
Good
married for
point.
reasons, like not for
उसने शादियां
yes.
ही स्क्रिप्ट कर दी है तो आई गेस वो तो अलग ही लेवल का रियलिटी शो बना सकती थी आज की डेट
True.
में
वही
but
The
if you
one day
notice,
marriage.
did you see like when Veer Alia's wedding announcement or something was made almost
Ah,
while the Kesaria song teaser was released? No,
I didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it either, but it's just the Kesaria song came out from Dhamal the movie,
Ah,
and they
Kesar is,
came
yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah. The teaser came out. Correct.
Yeah, the teaser came out around the same time when they were wishing them for their happy married life, the
Married
tea
life
series
and
or
all.
whatever it was.
Yes.
So how they're using their personal life and
That's
everything to
what PR
promote a
stunt.
movie. Yeah, so like that we can see it even now. We can see it very blatantly. So like that's what has
That
been happening throughout this movie marathon.
abs- correct. Like that teaser keeps on popping everywhere. Like whatever site I open, that Kesaria teaser will be there.
Yeah.
And it will
Okay.
remind you, okay, they got married and there's a movie that's coming out. So exactly, this is all PR. That's what they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Right. So now we are going to address the elephant in the room. Ashwini, you can leave if you want because are going to be spoilers over here. What do you think about the
आई एम
actual
म्यूटिंग
main side character of this book?
What?
What do you think about the actual main side character, the actual love interest in this book?
Celia. Really
Right.
Archie sings. Ashwini, you can seriously mute or
या
go.
आई हैव
Like
म्यूटेड
don't listen.
ओके आई एम म्यूटिंग माई सेल्फ सो जब कन्वर्सेशन खत्म हो जाए गिव मी अ थम्स अप सो आई कैन अनम्यूट माई सेल्फ
Okay, all
Okay.
right. Okay, guys, what do you think about Celia and Celia's and Evelyn's relationship?
Okay, in the beginning, I think she is a spoiled, pampered brat, and she is just so young and immature in comparison to Evelyn. So Evelyn was
Immature,
more of a
yes.
guardian to her, like she was caring for her, and but later when she was like being so confident and bold about their relationship, I think okay, she has that potential. But as Evelyn said, that she came from a privileged background, from a rich family, so she has that kind of liberty. She
Correct.
can be. There are some things which come with poor families or the rich families. They can be that if they want to, but they can't because they will be judged. So I don't actually loved her like I loved Evelyn, but it was good because Evelyn loved her, so I think
Loved
okay, I
her.
can like her.
What part of Celia and Evelyn's relationship that hurt me was when Evelyn decided to go ahead with that movie scene with Dan. without telling her, and then she told her later. So
In the
that was
movie.
really, really disappointing for me. I think if she really loved her, she would have been honest with her. That's okay that she would have decided to still go ahead with the scene, but that discussion was really important for their relationship.
Correct.
But again, it was the point of their, struggles in their relationship, so kind of makes sense.
Well, Falguni, for your point, like the part which I felt so hurt about was the fact that Evelyn wanted to have a baby with Harry. That
And
was
that
heartbreaking for
was,
me.
yes, like she could have adopted or surrogate or anything, but that's not
Because
it. Yeah, that was
no, I
very
can completely understand their fact, but then the same thing, I can understand Celia's point of view as well. Like,
yes,
how can you
right,
see your partner being with somebody else?
yes, that's true. That was one of the other like really
Yeah,
disappointing things.
Rehana, you want to
Exactly.
say something?
Yeah, yeah, I was saying like Celia also had to like give up so many things to be with
Yes, of
Evelyn.
course.
Yeah, she had to, and I think it would have been nice if we had heard from her side also. Like if we write a separate book on
Celia,
my
yes.
life with Celia, my life with Evelyn. I think you will love Celia also. I think.
It can
I
be a
actually
good
felt
A
that.
spin off
investment.
would be good, yes.
I actually felt that because, like, at one point of time, we noticed that Evelyn was not only hurting or leaving somebody, but she's literally hurting Celia so much. But we
Yeah.
aren't hearing the Celia's part of story because Celia too loves her, and she comes up and talks with her all the time whenever she comes in. So I feel, why can't somebody pick up and write something on this?
Yeah. Even though I didn't love Celia, I really, really felt bad for her throughout the book. Like there were many points that I felt bad for her about, and like I think that she deserved much better than what Evelyn could give to her.
You all remember that part, the book where Celia dies and Evelyn is photographed crying over Harry's grave.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that
that
scene
was,
is
Yes, yes.
beautiful.
yeah, yeah. Like that really was.
Like you would feel at that point of time, you'll feel like okay, the two most important person of her life is no more.
Yeah,
Like she lost everything. Like that's how she must have felt. So
that's
it makes us realize that okay, she might have done mistakes. Like Evelyn might have done mistakes, but she used to love Celia as much as it's like both sides. Both used to love each other. Anything. That's what.
yeah.
Yeah, Celia and Evelyn loved each other, but I think Harry was Evelyn's soulmate. Like,
Right.
the
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
soulmate collection did not
Like
exist between Celia and Evelyn.
there's not the sexual
Yeah,
relationship.
yeah.
Other than that, they are like
They were
best.
perfect.
So,
Yeah.
They're
Yes, they
perfect.
both
They're
were fit
perfectly
like
made
a
for each
jigsaw
other.
puzzle. Yes.
Correct.
Mm. Absolutely.
I do agree. So, anything else you want to add about Celia and their relationship, or we can call it that? Nothing. All right, I'll just call him back. I should be
And also, it's try to wind up the meeting. It's like 1 hour.
Yeah. So only last question is left, which is about Monique and her character. So basically, it is right from the beginning that Evelyn has summoned Monique for a particular reason. While
अरे
reading the book, were you making guesses as to why? Kya guesses were you making? We will not talk about the real thing, what Monique was called for, but what were you guessing while you were reading the story? Like, what could have been the reason?
अरे एक सेकंड वो जो पहले वाला क्वेश्चन था ना सिसिलिया वाला तो उसमें आई हैव टू ऐड अ पॉइंट एज
हाँ हाँ
फार एज आई हैव रेड तो वहाँ पे एक पॉइंट आता है व्हेन सी इज बीइंग अवॉर्डेड तो वो व्हेन सी इज गोइंग टू रिसीव द अवार्ड तो वहाँ पे सी आस्क एवेलिन कि व्हाट इफ आई डोंट गेट द अवार्ड विल यू स्टिल लव मी then Evelyn said, even if you don't get the award and sit there like a cardboard, I will still love you. So yeah,
That was really cute, I know.
yeah. Okay, so
Okay, so
continuing with your question, yep.
so we were discussing about Monique, like what were you expecting the story to be behind Monique being invited by Evelyn.
Oh, I made a whole theory behind it.
Yes,
Like,
please.
okay, she has like that was at the beginning. Not even the beginning. Like till the midpoint, I had that idea. Okay,
Even I
maybe
am
Monique's
even I
actual
am
mother adopted her
committed.
from somewhere. Maybe she's her own daughter or something
I
like
don't
that. Oh
know.
my god!
ये सेकंड
All
वाला ना
sorts
मेरे
of
साथ भी
theories
अभी
I
हो रहा
crafted.
है सो स्पॉइलर देने से पहले बोल देना एक बार क्योंकि सेकंड वाला मेरे साथ भी हो रहा है आई हैव अ डाउट कि सी इज अ डाउटर ऑफ एवलिन
Ah, Are she is her daughter only. You continue.
ओके आई एम ऑन द ट्रैक राइट
That was actually a perfect hook for this book.
ओके
Yes.
True.
Even though we had a lot of hooks coming up, the main hook was that one, and we are like very eager to know what is and what isn't. But still, she's her daughter. You can read it out.
I had no theory. I was like living in my own fantasy world because I'm a writer. So I was thinking कि अगर मुझे कोई celebrity ऐसे बुला ले तो I will be like I was in my fantasy land. I was not thinking of any theory. I was just
Which
placing
celebrity
myself
would you
there.
have accepted? I was guessing the connection.
SRK.
That was awesome. Actually.
Blindly SRK.
एक बार
That was
मेरे को
awesome.
मतलब विश्वास करने का मन भी हुआ एवलिन के ऊपर व्हेन शी सेड कि मुझे तुमने क्यों बुलाया देन एवलिन सेड कि बिकॉज आई लाइक यू तो मैं लाइक कि वाह इतना छोटा सा चीज है तो ओके ठीक है एक बार मन हुआ कि आई शुड ट्रस्ट एवलिन बट ना ऐसे नहीं करेंगे विश्वास
Yeah,
तुम पे
I kind of trusted when she said that I read your work and I really appreciated it, blah blah blah. I was like, okay, maybe.
Anvesa has not
So
speak for a while. Do you want to speak?
Yeah, so I was planning to jump in when everybody's done. So my theory was that Evelyn's father was working with the movie stars. He had some job over there. So
Yes.
I was thinking along the same lines कि पता नहीं उनके साथ कुछ interaction हुआ होगा. She might have committed something, not
exactly.
so.
I
So that is
thought it
something
was
which I was
to do
thinking.
something with her father. I thought it was to do something with the father, but I did not guess
Yeah,
the plot
Yeah.
because
yeah.
he mentioned he was in the film industry.
हाँ बट बीच में मेरे को भी भरोसा करने का मन किया when she said that I like just because I like you I had I'll call you here so मेरे को बीच में लगा कि maybe ये भी हो सकता है
Okay, how many
Anvesha,
of you?
I'll tell you. Yeah, Mansi,
Ah,
please
yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead. Any,
Just asking ki
I
how
was
many of
just
you read other books by Taylor Jenkins? Like
I read
No,
by
I'm
one
about
and
my
only.
yeah
I'm
I
about.
read
I did.
yeah
after
I
Malibu
did
Rising was
Daisy
good
Jones and Six. Daisy Jones and the Six, and I'm
And
reading Malibu Rising right now.
same.
yeah
but I
Malibu
I'm
Rising
heard
is
starting that
lovely
Sakshi,
right now.
I heard Sakshi that Daisy Jones was not as good as these two, Malibu Rising and Seven Husbands. I heard through
It
like
is. It
I
is seriously. It is seriously okay types for me. I have given my review on that. But I in तीनों books में I have thought one thing which is very clear that writer has done her homework for this particular circa, like for 1950s, 1940s
yeah,
to 1980s. She's done it very well. Like you talk
understand.
about the clothes, you talk about
Yeah,
hairstyles, you talk about the food they eat. She talks about the place they are in, the kind of pants the person is wearing. The combination that goes with a skirt, or a top that goes with
every
a
detail.
pant, or everything. The couture that they say, everything is perfect in all the three books. Plot
I
is
love it
not
how
that
she
convincing.
yeah
Plot is not that convincing of Daisy Jones because it is all on the same lines of, you know, um infidelity, drinking culture, smoking culture, like that's it. वो terms उसके वही हैं.
Mm-hmm.
करेक्ट सो ना उनके सारे बुक्स में ना आप देखो ऑल द कैरेक्टर्स आर लिंक्ड जैसे कि मैलिबू राइजिंग में इट टॉक्स अबाउट द रिवा फैमिली लाइक मिक रिवा इज देयर अ प्रोमिनेंट कैरेक्टर ओवर
Right,
देयर now Mick
right.
Riva is also in the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo,
Yes,
right?
Yes,
So
yes,
I
he
love how
is.
she
He
links it.
is.
It's like she has thought through the plots of all of her books and she picks characters
एग्जैक्टली
from
मतलब
here to there.
कितने टाइम पहले से उसने ये चीज सोच के रखी होगी दैट
हाँ,
लाइक
correct.
इनके दिमाग में आता कैसे है ये सब.
that's why they are globally famous writer, and
right.
we can't even
Has
get
somebody
our
read
friends
After
to
I Do?
read our blog.
I know, right?
Has somebody read After I Do?
No.
Of
No, yeah, it's on my TBR. I haven't yet.
okay. After I Do, I read it just after Evelyn Hugo because I loved Evelyn Hugo so much. But then the same thing, Evelyn Hugo was better than that. I felt so. Anvesh,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to put you out. Like you can try it out. But
No,
yeah,
no,
I
I'll
felt
definitely try it out. Yeah.
Evelyn Hugo was awesome.
I think there's one more
And
book of hers, yeah, One True Loves karke. I have heard so much
One
about
True
it also.
Loves.
Huh.
Yes.
I think there's
When you
this thing
start,
about
Kia.
popular books of authors, like when you read the one most famous book, the others somehow disappoint. Like
Yeah.
Yes.
I read
Yes.
John Green's Fault in Our Stars, but after that I read Looking for Alaska and Paper Towns too, and they were like disappointed. So
I
yeah,
liked
that happened.
Looking for Alaska better than Fault in
Me
Our
too.
Stars. Yeah,
Correct, me too. Huh.
Looking
But
for
when I
Same here.
read
Alaska is
Looking,
deep story. Looking for Alaska deep, like
It's
it
talk
connect.
about teenage suicide, which is so
Yeah,
so
it
like
connects.
but I read Looking
It's
for Alaska
correct.
and Paper Towns so like back to back kind of that
hmm,
their plots kind of clashed with each
Yeah,
other.
yeah, yeah.
So they were so
okay.
similar on so similar lines that it was disappointing because I read both of those.
But there's no match of The Fault in Our Stars.
Yes,
That's a
right.
brilliant book. Fantastic.
Okay, so
It's a
Sanjana and
beautiful book.
Madhuri are the late comers here. So, do you want to add anything or summarize anything because we are about to end?
Hi guys, I actually slept around 8 o'clock and I woke up just now.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
early. Look, Ashwani, it was early. Just clear
Ashwin
it.
is
It
After
was
sleeping.
many
really
years.
so I
Ashwin
early.
is
as
Yes.
sleeping.
soon as opened my eyes, I because I love this book, Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and the character, the both characters, whether it is Evelyn Hugo or the I forgot because I read the book, in January. Uh, so even the journalist, both the characters were very well written, and more than any journalist, Evelyn Hugo's character was like amazing. I'm blown over by her, her resilience, the way she is determined to reach the top, and also the love, the bond which she had with another actress. I wish they had set their egos aside, and I wish they had lived a peaceful and happy life. And I love the bond with Harry. It was a very wholesome book. Which made me cry, which made me happy, which empowered me, which strengthened me. It was a perfect, a woman's read, if I have to say. It can be read by anybody, but it was like something where a woman can dream, irrespective of what circumstances she comes from. She has a right to dream, and not only she can dream, but she can reach it. And the dignity with which Evelyn Hugo leads her life, and the way she leads her challenges, and I really loved it. I really loved it. And Malibu Rising is another book which has been in my TBR of Taylor Jenkins Reid. So I have no other comments on that. Only after I read it, I can make comments. But I'm glad that you guys have read her other books. That's so nice. Thank you for this opportunity. That's all.
Okay, Madhuri, I think
Anybody
you
else?
have a lot to say, and good news for you because we have a scheduled one more meeting of this particular book on the next Saturday or Sunday. We will announce it in the group.
That's great. Thank you.
And Sanjana, do you want to add something?
Yeah, actually, I'm so confused right now because I was really excited for this group discussion because I specifically loved this book.
You have one more discussion to attend, so no problem.
Yeah,
And make sure
yeah,
to join that one. Don't miss it.
yeah, yes, yes,
You
sure.
can summarize some of your feelings about this book right now
Yep.
if you have 5 10 minutes. Sanjana, you want to add anything?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So I I was really excited about this group discussion just because I loved her character, even though she was not morally very what should I say
Correct. It wasn't
correct,
morally correct. Yeah.
but she was very real,
Yes.
Yeah, so I love that about her.
Okay. I would just like to add a few final comments. So as an editor, I had my editor's text on while I was reading it. I just realized that the writing was a little too explanatory. So at some point, she was explaining herself. Like Evelyn is a person who doesn't explain herself, who should not explain herself. But still, at some points, I did feel like she was giving a little too much than what Evelyn would do. So I can't remember any exact point, but it was like, okay, I would lose my sexuality because I think if I have it, so something like that. So she was constantly talking about how she was using her sexuality to do something, and kind of giving explanation. When you think you have done something wrong, you try to give some reasons to it. So Evelyn as a person isn't supposed to be that give that reasons because her personality is not that. But I did feel like that the author was giving some reasons because of her own mindset or something. So I don't know if you have noticed, but I did it because I have been like I have received some comments from authors sometimes that I don't want to explain it that much, so you please don't get into explanation stuff. So I have started realizing that female authors tend to explain more in their writing, even when they don't have to necessarily. So I did think that was one point of writing bit that little bit ugly, but anyway, overall it was obviously a great read. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're trying to say. I have also experienced the similar situation, like author try to over explain things when they can just avoid the things. But I think in this book, it actually fits the narrative because Evelyn is actually interviewing herself, like she's giving a kind of interview or describing her life. So she's not justifying herself or explaining herself to the readers, but she's justifying herself or adding the explanation to the journalist,
To herself.
to Marie.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think this fits the narrative, and it's like a deliberate ad from the other side कि उसको दिखाना ही है ये सब. So I don't know, but I think this can be a
That
And
possibility.
yeah, that is a good way to
I
look at
would
it.
I would like to
Sorry.
add one point, and with this, like feeling guilty, I think like the kind of industry from which Evelyn is, and that to the time period from in which she was part of the industry. Women didn't have much choice other than they had to succumb to certain being you know being the what is casting and all
Yeah,
that they fell prey for it, and if they had dreams they had to sacrifice, they had to compromise, and they didn't have an option per se, like where we have Me Too today, or we have certain organizations which stand for women, or women can emphasize now we so I think it's about, I don't think Evelyn has any qualms about you know doing that, because it's very common. Nobody a man doesn't never explains if he has multiple affairs. He never feels guilty about it until you know maybe, so she's, I think it's not about being guilty, it's about uh being open about her life, I suppose.
yeah,
What I appreciated the most was how by the end, the LGBTQ parades and all started taking place. So that was really a wholesome closure to that story, like how like the world was changing in a way that Evelyn would have expected it to be in her time.
Yes. Can I speak?
Yeah, yeah, please.
Yeah. Like I really love the LGBT, portrayal part. Really, it was a welcome, a welcome addition to the book. Uh, Once again, it was a very beautiful addition to the book, and it was really nice, because now people have come now in the current Hollywood industry. People have come open about their affairs, or whether they're gay or something. We have seen in the recent past only many people were closeted and they were apprehensive to come about. So I can only imagine what trauma they would have faced through, to be in love but not able to, show it. So that was exactly portrayed. The taboo of being in love with the same sex was very well written, and the apprehensiveness on part of both the heroines to openly show their love. It was very painful, a very painful read, but I hope they would have at least on the ego parts, they would have ironed it out, and they would have you know stayed together.
That's very well said. So I think we have crossed the time limit. So anyone else wants to add anything or should we continue?
Okay, so Trisa is new here, and I don't know if she has read the book or not, and she's a latecomer. So, news for you that we have one more meeting of this book in the next week. I will update you about that. And yep, if anyone has anything more to add, and then we can summarize and end up this session.
Hello.
Yep, Sanjana.
Hi.
I also loved how she stood for her sexuality. There was a point when people were telling her that she's a lesbian or she's straight, but she kept saying that no, I'm bisexual. That uh, you can't put me down like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she stood by her that if she's bisexual, then yes, she is, and she spoke up about it at any time she had.
Oh, okay. Great. Janki, do you want to summarize something? Because you haven't speak for a while.
Am I audible?
Yep.
I more than the story part, I love the way the writer reveals things to us. The hooking, the narration, the story within the story concept, involving the journalism inside it. Those things were like so nice to me because me being literature student, I am not into the story. I am like into the way the story is written. So I love those kinds of things. The suspense, the middle loop, like where we tend to know a lot of things. The middle part. At one point of time, I personally feel this book is good for a filmy content, a content
Yes,
which has to be filmed. And
yes,
this book works for all the audience, irrespective region. It can be taken in any languages. It can be like modified slightly because we find a lot of female uh, person coming up in industry. I wish to mention them as actor. The job is acting only. Why I don't know. Where we find a lot of gender plurals and singulars for masculine and feminines adding to it. They are actors. We have to respect them. So this book can be regionally adopted by changing few concepts. Even though like the current generation heroines can be like topped in for having these kinds of characters in it. Like it's similar because we find a lot of women going through a lot of stuff, but still they are like not given an important role. So I love the way the book is written for a filmy content, and it has a lot of narration and story within the story concepts kind of things. More
this
than
is the kind of story that would really make up for a nice series on Netflix or Amazon Prime.
Yeah, the film has
Exactly.
been adapted to make a movie.
I don't know.
Yeah, a
I
movie are in
think
Netflix पे.
yeah, the Riverdale girl is in. I think I don't know. I don't remember her name too.
I don't know about the cast,
Oh,
but the movie is scheduled on the Netflix.
Yeah, even Daisy Jones and Six is on the papers.
Oh, wow, great.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that.
Okay, so can everyone turn on their camera and we can have a snapshot?
Selfie time.
Anvesa, Mansi,
I came just in time for the selfie, I guess.
yep, done.
And I want to say one thing, there are so many messages about spoilers, but I think group discussion of a book is about talking about the book, na? So how can we who have read the book stop from talking about it? Like, if you
Avoid
haven't read
spoilers.
it, no
Yes.
offense, but don't join it. That's as simple, because if I haven't read the book, I won't. I am okay with not attending the meeting, but I'm not okay with the
अरे
spoilers.
बोलो
So,
spoilers, मना किसने किया?
you look at the chat, no?
अरे किसने मना
I
किया?
didn't look at the chat.
Yeah, it's like a blame, like directed at us, but it's wrong done on their part, not our part. It's a group discussion.
नहीं नहीं
Yeah.
बात करो
That
spoilers
is
के बारे
obvious.
में.
The spoilers
Yeah.
will
Yeah,
take
इसलिए
place.
मैंने
So,
उन लोगों को बोल दिया कि जिन्होंने नहीं कंप्लीट किया they can join in the next. मैं यहाँ पे
there's
हूँ because I have
another
to be here.
meeting.
yeah, you have to be.
Host.
We don't
I
care
have
about
only
your
one
spoilers.
to
Yeah,
add.
Yeah.
Can I?
हाँ.
Yeah. I love this book. I love the way Evelyn said, like she portrayed all the struggles of women in Hollywood. But at the same time, I would have loved to read the narratives of all the other characters as well. I felt it would have been much better if we had some perspectives like Harry's, Celia's, and some other additional characters. I would have loved it, but unfortunately, they were all not alive by that time.
हाँ.
Not only not alive by then, but this is also the story of Evelyn only. So we can't really expect more out of it.
Yeah.
Well, I think
I
you
have a
all should
task
wind
for
up.
you
It's
all.
a Sunday,
I have
guys.
a task for you all. If you want to do it.
Yes.
So
Tell us.
I guess everyone has their favorite husbands and their least favorite husband.
Husband.
Okay, so write a open letter to them and post on your Instagram and tag ABC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. चलो, so should we
Okay.
wrap it?
Yes.
या किसी को और कुछ बोलना है?